GS score,
GS score, GS score,
GS score,
GS score, GS score,
GS score,
GS score,
GS score,
GS score है, GS score,
GS score,
GS score,
GS score,
GS score,
GS score.
GS score.
Hello, dear friends. I'm Dr. Surendra Singh, Faculty of Sociology, teaching sociology in civils for more than 2 decades, almost 24, 25 years. Today, the purpose of me coming to you and having a chat with you is to basically look at sociology as an optional in civil services. I've always said that when you're talking about or you are picking up sociology as an optional, and particularly those who are planning for 26, this is the very right time to do their optional. And all those who are inclined towards sociology, this is a subject which is very precise. This is a subject which is very analytical. I'll be talking about this one in the other slide. And it has always been an evergreen subject as far as the results in civils go. Right from our times till 2024, 23, the results which have come out, almost every time we find about that the toppers out of the 10, sociology has done fairly well. And then when you look at the syllabus is very compact. So in this one, when I always say that when you're talking about sociology is an optional, it is an evergreen optional. It's easy to comprehend. And when we say easy to comprehend, then at least all those people who have a keen interest in looking at the happenings in society, the happenings in around them, with an ethical mind, they are sociologists. For which you do not need to have a certain kind of academic degree in sociology. I don't know how it will go, this line which I have witnessed, which I have observed, that most of the recent residents who have come out there in the recent years, they have been engineers, they have been the doctors, and they have done fairly well in sociology, and they have realized their dream. Conceptual clarity is important in civils in general, and particularly in sociology. Once you are conceptually sound, once you are conceptually very clear, with the analytical mind, believe me, sociology is going to make you realize your dream. And in this very perspective, you also need to demystify the certain factors. Now, if you look at here, sociology is an optional subject. It is when I say evergreen, it is a very scoring subject, high success rate. Then it's overlaps with the GS, particularly the first paper, second paper, third paper, and fourth paper. So even in terms of this one, I say that when we are teaching it, I say that apart from the thinkers, apart from the very sociological terminologies, you need to be very careful that the dimensions which you have understood in sociology could be used in HGS as well. So, right from the social justice to ethics to Indian society, and it is very helpful in essay because every year, whenever you go about, you find about certain essays coming from the Indian society or social perspective. Their natures are social, and it's a dynamic and evolved. You know, when I say dynamic, then you should always remember that core or base should be very clear. Every unit, right from the paper 1 to paper 2, every unit, every concepts, every dimensions, you should be very conceptually clear. And you should know the basics. In the basics, what the changes have come, how it has evolved, how it has developed. That is the evolution. And when I say sociology is not just common sense, it's a systematic study of society. It means it is a part of a syllabus, sociology in a common sense. I always say in a one sentence, what separates sociology from common sense is a scientific temperament, its scientific nature. The integration between the or interlinkages between the units in a paper 1 and paper 2, and also in between paper 1 and paper 2, you need to understand. And from here, when I've said demystifying sociology from the common sense, when I said demystifying from the common sense, I'm not talking about the part of syllabus in terms of common sense. Though some dimensions have been written there based on personal experiences, subjective and anecdotal, subjective based on personal experiences, and sociology is systematic study based on theories, evidence, and objectivity. Its nature is scientific, and it relies on the theories, concepts, empirical evidences. All right. But my purpose is those who are basically planning to pick sociology as an option. Two group of students in the last 24 years, 25 years I have come across. The common questions, two common questions. The first common question is that it is very theoretical. There are too many scholars. Yes, to a certain extent, I do agree that when looking sociology as a subject in academics, then right from 1838, from where sociology emerged till 2025, a very long period has passed. Decades, centuries have passed. Certainly within this one, there are different theoretical perspectives, certain scholars, and the numerous scholars, sociologists, they have emerged. But they are not important. You are not being in academics, so you need to understand it. That the requirement of academics and requirement of sales are altogether different from one another. This part has to be understood. The syllabus which have been there, the every dimensions of the syllabus, every perspective of the syllabus, by going behind the lines, that should be the concern. Your major focus should be on the six thinkers which have been there in unit 4 in a paper 1. I'll be talking about how to approach them. And while reading certain units, right from the unit 2 to 3 to 4, to 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which are in the first paper, whenever certain perspectives change, wherever the certain requirements come, you'll find about 1 or 2, 3 scholars who are relevant into that area. But they are not to be read as you have read the six thinkers. So you need to basically pick up and try to find out that what the things are there. And that's why, let me say, when you say demystify, then you are saying removal. You need to remove this misconception that it is too conceptual, there are too many theoretical dimensions, there are innumerable scholars. Forget it. And the second group of students who come out, it's a very easy, sir. No, no subject is easy, no subject is difficult. All right. It's become, when you say it is easy, it means you have made sociology comfortable, you have become comfortable with the sociology. And when you say it is difficult, it means you have are still struggling, or you have struggled with the nuances of understanding. So the first part of demystification, the meaning is removal. Once you remove such kind of misconception, you demystify such kind of conception, then you need to pick up the second one, that is basically called clarity. Clarity of thought should be there. Which perspectives to be used? Who are the important scholars? What are the methods being used? How sociology is a developed that has emerged, developed, and institutionalized? In a very sequential perspective, you need to understand. Phase wise. Sometimes while reading, we do not give focus on the phase wise, neither we give focus on the decades. Such kind of questions have been there. And such kind of questions have started coming up. So look it in that very perspective. 5, 10, 15 minutes extra work of going behind the facets would be the most important. And now when we look at, so when you have demystified that one, take a middle path. Don't go beyond the syllabus. But when I say don't go beyond the syllabus, you first need to understand the syllabus, that what syllabus is all about. And syllabus are not to be read, not to be mugged up. It has to be understood. And understood with a conceptual clarity and analytical skill. Your analytical mindset, your critical mindset, with a conceptual clarity will make you more comfortable in sociology. I have always said sociology will not be a cause of rejection. And sometimes I have said it. Those who have done sociology with me, those who know, I have always said that I am not going to be the cause of rejection in sociology. And I'm the only teacher who says, provided that when I as a teacher has done everything, I have opened up everything and I have done my job, then it is you who has to work hard. You need to chase your goal, you need to pursue that. And you understand that. Understanding, writing, looking at the PYQs. PYQs, when you say previous year questions, they will basically be making you understand that whether you are in right track or not. But let me say, while teaching in a GS, paper 1 and paper 2, in terms of Indian society and social justice, or even in sociology, I always say that you must come to the level where you would be able to anticipate. Not necessarily the questions which have been asked last year that will be asked. But while reading, opening up the dimensions, you basically needed to anticipate from where the questions, new questions could also come. That much labor has to be done. So such kind of lines that is very easy, very concise, syllabus is short. No, not yet. Don't pick up sociology because of this misconception. Demystify that. Clarify your thoughts. And once you have done this one, what you basically need to do is to look at the sociological thinkers. But before you go for looking at the sociological thinkers, remember the two sentences of mine. The first one, you needed to understand the interrelationship between the different units in a paper 1 and as well as paper 2. And you also need to learn the art to integrate the paper 1 with the paper 2. For example, if you look at, you find about the syllabus beginning, modernity, Europe, consequent changes and emergence of society. And when you come to the second paper, you will find about one subunit that is called modernization of Indian tradition. The nuances of difference, comparison should be known to you. For example, if I make a line that modernization has been an orthogenetic means coming from within, process in Europe, thus altering the core values. But modernization in India has been heterogenetic process coming from outside. So it will not be able to alter entire core values. The peripheral changes will come up. And that way these differences has to be understood. At another example, let me pick up when you're talking about Unit 5, social stratification. And when you talk about types of social stratification structures, when you start looking at the syllabus, you find about class and caste. And anyone who is talking about the caste will be coming to the Indian society. It means now you have come to the second paper. In a second paper, part B, you will find about the caste system in India. So why to wait for this? When we are doing it social stratification, when you do it work and economic life, or you do it politics and society, or you do religion, or you do system of kinship or social changes. Do not wait for the second paper that I'll be first finishing the first paper, then I'll go for the second paper. No. Bring it, integrate them. And once you integrate, you will find about not only the similarities, you will also find about the differences. You will also be able to understand the certain kind of comparison. And more precisely, you will be able to understand that what are the theoretical models, what are the concepts which you have developed in the first paper could be applied in a second paper. Such kind of questions are coming. And once you have integrated that, I don't know, right since when I was a student and when I have become a teacher, it has always been said, and I have been saying it, that the heart and soul of sociology is in it four. There is sociological thinkers. Six thinkers are there, dear. Karl Marx, Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, Talcott Parsons, Robert King Martin, and G.H. Mead. And anyone who has provided good time to sociological thinkers, understanding it, introspecting it, becoming conceptually clear, he will certainly be able to fetch more marks than those who find thinkers uncomfortable. Every thinkers, if you look at the syllabus has been written over there, to which I always call themes. For example, if I talk about Durkheim, Emile Durkheim, then you'll find about written over there division of labor. Now, suppose this is the division of labor. All right. Now, what you need to do? No thinker is a wild plant who will grow anywhere. Every thinker is a product of his own time. So, you basically need to go for the socio-historical conditions which have produced the thinkers. The social, the political, the economic, the intellectual. These dimensions, these factors are to be understood by you to understand that how the thinkers have emerged. You do these basics. When you are very new to sociology, not been groomed, not been taught, no academic background, then pick up the six thinkers like a six stories. And forget it that you are doing for UPSC. You just simply say that this is a scholar Emile Durkheim, I want to know what he says or what he has said. Read it, casual reading, without looking at the syllabus. Once you have understood it, once you have read it, then go for a more focused study second time with the syllabus in your hand. You will find about that now, whatever tentatively we understood, you are now able to provide the locations according to the themes. For example, that's one theme which I have picked up. And in the themes, you will find about the concepts like collective conscience. You will find about repressive and restitutive law. You will find about the metaphors of mechanical and organic solidarity. You'll find about what are the pathological division of labor. You'll also be finding about the concept of homodiplex. It means once you have done the thing, these are the concepts which must reflect in your answers. And mind you, this could be the similar, this kind of questions, collective conscience, repressive law, mechanical organic solidarity, pathological, they could also be separate questions. And then you find about what are the methods. It will be causal, functional. So from here you'll be talking about functionalism, and you'll also be talking about positivism, which will make you to come to the unit 2. This way, this much clarity, this way your approach to sociology should be there. And once you have done the 6, take an index paper. Take the theme, write down the concept, write down the methodology. Make a 6 index paper. But once you have done it, close the 6 and pick up it another index paper and try to compare them. That what are the certain themes which are common to the thinkers. On what themes they have brought the different methodology, how they have approached. That way the comparative analysis could be done. Right? So you'll find about the questions on Durkheim and Marx on division of labor. You'll be finding about social stratification between Marx and Weber. You'll be finding about religion between Durkheim and Weber. You'll be finding about capitalism between Marx and Weber. You'll be finding about social action between Max Weber and Talcott Parsons. You'll be finding about functionalism between the earlier scholars Durkheim, Parsons versus Merton. You need to understand that. And similar perspectives should be in thinkers. For example, when you're talking about Marx, you need to know about the Hegel. You need to know about Saint Simon and others through which the socialism will come out. You need to talk about the British economic political system within Adam Smith will come out. Such kind of preparations will make you more comfortable. And it will, I agree that it will take some time. But once you have dreamt of becoming an IAS or IPS, clearing civils, that much labor has to be done. And mind me, nothing will go wrong. I have always said, and today itself I say that I am not going to be the cause of rejection. And with me, sociology is not going to be the cause of rejection, which I have always said. It's not so that everyone has qualified. But few days back, I was talking to some of the junior teachers, and they said me, "Sir, as a teacher, where you feel pride?" I said, most of the students who have qualified, they are proud of me. But I said that sometimes I feel more happy, more proud when those students who have not qualified, if they have to recommend someone and they bring certain students, new student, you have to do sociology with sir. I'm like, this is the best perspective. And they say that somewhere the fault lies in us. And I have always been saying that the questions will not surprise you. And this way the things will be good. Once you have done this one and you have come to this, remember this one, dear. Comparative analysis has to be done by you between all the six thinkers. Here you'll find about what are the positivists, who are the non-positivists. You do not have to remember all the scholars which have said it. So unit 2 would be done. Unit 3, the methodology would be done. And they are the same thinkers who are to be used when you look at the syllabus in unit 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Apart from these thinkers, we will be using some new one in a passing reference so that the certain nature of the units could be understood by us. And once you have approached this one, remember me, if you have been very comfortable with the thinkers, units in a paper 1 would require only the conceptual clarity, because these are the thinkers which will make you approach the units to open up the dimensions. And these thinkers will also be helping you to begin in a second paper. If any one of you who feel looking at the second paper syllabus, will find about ideology, structural functionalism, structural Marxism. All right, that way the second paper syllabus begins. So you have become comfortable with. If anyone is talking about Durkheim or talking about Talcott Parsons or talking about Robert King Martin, he will be able to understand what a structural functionalism is. So the basic theoretical dimension is known. How this model has been applied in Indian sociology. So there is one name like M.N. Srinivas. When you talk about the Marxism, you have done it in the first paper. How this Marxist perspective has been applied in Indian society. So there is a name written that is called Yardesai. And in that way, the comparison will be done. There could also be question how far these thinkers could be applied in understanding Indian society. That conceptual clarity, once again, I'm saying, you should or you must reach to that level to be very comfortable. And once you have done this one day, then I said interlinkages of paper 1 and paper 2 has to be done. So, for example, if I'm talking about unit 5, that is social stratification. You bring it second paper here. And from there you talk about caste system in India. Bring the theoretical doses. All right, a structural functionalist, ideological, a structural Marxist, modernistic, and that way the certain scholars are there. So bring it, integrate this one. This way will work in economic life, politics and society, religion. They are the common units which are there in the second paper. You bring them, integrate over them. And that's why I said that focus on theories, thinkers, and the basic concepts. And then you also talk about provide the foundation for analyzing the social issues or different facets of Indian society. When you look at the social structure part B, you find about that how the 6 units have been there. So you need to integrate the conceptual clarity of pure and theoretical perspective from the first paper, methodological issues from the first paper to the second paper. And then here, concepts paper 1 to the Indian context and topics like caste, gender, globalization, politics, changes, economic, you need to look at. And that way, I always say that when you have integrated paper 1 and paper 2, you will be surprised to know that when you start paper 2, there will be very few units, 4 or 5 units, which you have not done in a paper 1. So do not bifurcate. This is the old practice where the first paper is first finished, then second paper is done. No dear, don't go. Integrate them. Do not bifurcate paper 1 and paper 2. For your convenience, for your conceptual clarity. And once you have done it, then how to approach paper 2, that Indian society. Let me say most of the units which we are doing in a paper 2, that is Indian society. It is also part of your GS. Paper 1, sometimes the certain issues will be there in a paper 2. Some issues will be there in a paper 3. Some topics will be finding about in a paper 4. But when you are approaching, they are not the common one. This is another misnomer. This is another misconception. That second paper, sociology, is Indian society. It's a very journalistic note here. Every subject brings its own perspective. And I have always been saying it. The person who has been groomed in sociology for such a long time, academically, then teaching in civils for such a long period. It's a true that sociology as an academic discipline in India developed in 1919 from Mumbai University. But since then, if I'm talking about sociology as an academic discipline, academic subject, and even if I take the year 1920, then we are today standing in 2025. Almost 105, 106 years have passed. And Indian society has not been static. That's why I say it's a theoretical dimension, its conceptual development has been as rich as the Western society. The first part that you need to understand that when you look at any unit in a paper 2, though it is not written, part A is talking about the certain kind of perspectives. No, before that one, you just look at development of Indian society. Not written in the syllabus, dear. Look at it in the 3 phases. Pre-British, British, post-British, and post-British particularly come to the phase of 90s, from where the globalization began. And in this one, you'll also be finding about the theoretical developments. So this is the one perspective that we'll have talked about. And also try to approach through the decades phases. So this is the one phases, how through which the Indian sociology has developed and matured, institutionalized, and decades. It is not merely the Indian sociology. Every unit For example, you talk about the village study, you talk about caste, you talk about the tribal, or you talk about Indian democracy, or you talk about women studies, you talk about the social movements, all right, or tribes. Look at the phases, look at the certain decades in which the certain new theoretical dimensions, the new methodological concerns have emerged. Go through this one day. It will make you more comfortable. And such kind of questions are being asked. The decades, from the perspective of decade, the questions are coming. So once you have done this one, then there are 6 theoretical models, perspectives that you must be aware of. Ideological, a structuralist, a structural functionalist, a structural Marxist, modernistic, and subaltern. All right. Once again, I repeat: ideological, a structuralist, a structural functionalist, a structural Marxist, modernistic, and subaltern. All right. This theoretical perspective must be known to you, and they are to be used in the different units wherever the requirement is. And sometimes the questions are coming from the structuralist perspective. You ask, what are the tenets of the structural functionalism? How far Marxism could be applied in understanding of Indian society? They are asking the subaltern studies, Ranjit Guha and others. They have also asked the modernization of Indian tradition, from where you gain this thing, another perspective that is coming out. And some questions are coming, which sometimes you say they are offbeat questions. No, they become offbeat because you have not done your preparation well. And sometimes I find the students say, out of the syllabus. No, there is nothing out of the syllabus. Either I, as a teacher, has not been able to make you understand the syllabus completely, or despite me doing all my best, you have not done your labor to understand the syllabus, or what the teacher has basically made you to understand it. Escalation of marks is done only by 2, the teacher and the students, not by UPSC. I do not believe in such kind of logics. Do not have the escapist tendency. And use the theoretical models over there. And remember to use the empirical examples, sociological empirical examples, to substantiate your answers. Not to frame your answers, but to substantiate your answer. All right. This theoretical methodological perspective, the concepts which are pure sociological in perspective, the thinkers, the scholars, sociologists, minus them, whatever the dimension we have opened will become the part of your essay, will become the part of your GS. All right. But every subject requires its own perspective, and you should be aware of that perspective. And I don't know how you'll react. I have always said that second paper, Indian sociology, works like a mathematics, provided you know how to approach it. And invariably, you'll find about those who have been selected in civils with sociology. Invariably, their marks in a second paper has always been better than first paper. And those who have had a better marks in a first paper, you'll find about they are very conceptually sound, and the sociological thinkers are at the tips of them. They know how to use it. Applied dimension should be more important. Theory solidifies your knowledge. You have to do it. And once you have done this one, then also try to find out that what are the new range of questions which is coming. And that's why earlier we said about in one of the slides that sociology is not a static, it's dynamic. Indian society or any society, it's not a static, it's a dynamic. So the newer issues will come out, newer concerns will come out. And if the newer social concerns are coming, newer social issues are coming, you'll find about a good number of sociologists approaching that one. Though they may differ on the perspectives what they have chosen. All right. Some may look at the same phenomena from the different theoretical perspectives. Some will apply some different theoretical perspectives. But every issues, every newer concerns will basically attract the attentions of the sociologists and they will work up. So sometimes you find about, look at the syllabus. Last but not the least, it's a long time, 4.5 months, 5 months course, 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week, with a class dictation. The notes would be there. Sometimes handwritten, I'll be providing. I still love writing. So I'll write it in the night and I'll post on your WhatsApp. Because whenever every batch comes out, I ask the students to make the WhatsApp group on which they could send me their answers. They could ask me the questions if they are not understood. And I could post something while reading something if I feel or if I find that this is necessary. I just post them and I'll say them that you need to read, be prepared. Sometimes certain kind of aesthetic portions of the syllabus, I'll post the notes and we'll give them the time that you just keep on reading. After 4 days, when you'll finish this unit, we'll talk about this one. And then from the basics, we'll move to the dynamic part. We'll look at the evolution. Class dictation should be there. That will be more than enough. And sometimes while reading any kind of books, which I find about that this is the book which has come out new. These are the certain kind of pages. These are certain units which are important. And you should know. I'll just post it to you. And that will continue. If you come, anyone will come to me. And when I look at my mobile, all right, I don't know how many WhatsApp groups, Sociology 17, Sociology 15, Sociology 18, Sociology 19, 19.2, 2024, 1, 2024, 2, all right, the current batch which is going on. So this way, the which I finished in January last. So that way the WhatsApp group have been there and I'll post them. And sometimes I find that 2024 student has met 2025 and say, sir, aapne to, you have not sent me that notes. I said, beta, this is the new emergent issues which I might have forgotten. Let's send it. Be in touch. Do well. Every corner, every stone will be turned by me. And it is not easy one. I'll also be struggling to make you understand. You also need to struggle to understand it. And we have to come to the, when you go out of the classroom, particularly every day, you feel comfortable. And once you have done this one, once again, I'm saying that sociology is the most easiest paper, provided you know the basics, you have done your homework, you are aware with the theoretical methodological perspectives, you know how to use the theoretical perspectives in the questions, the units, how to segmentalize them, and most importantly, you are also being able to understand how to anticipate. Once you have all done this one, things will be much more easier in part. The purpose I said today was to talk about the sociology as an optional and what are the certain kind of misconceptions and how to approach in a very brief perspective. We in a GSS core are starting sociology foundation 2025-26 from 28th of February and just 2 days after Holi. So I invite all of you, those who are interested in sociology, those who have the certain kind of misconception, or even they are in a doldrum between the two optionals, and all those who had picked up sociology, done their course, and not fetching marks, and if they are going with a certain kind of improvement, if they are feeling like, come join us, come be part of me, and I'll be there till you have succeeded. And within few days, we'll be picking up the certain themes from the sociology, will be uploading that one. But today's purpose of me was basically to invite all of you, those who are interested in opting sociology as an optional in 2020 or for 2026, or even if you are going for this one, then come be part of it. Every unit will be done, no unit will be left. And I do not believe in leaving any unit. All right. Being selective does not mean escapist. And with this, I wish all of you the best of luck. And once again, I invite all of you to please be part of GSS Core Foundation Sociology. All right? Nothing will go wrong. Thank you.